Free speech and access to information are the glue that holds a democracy together. However, the need to strike a healthy balance when reporting issues bordering on national security cannot be overemphasized. Ironically, as the conventional media make efforts to play by the rules, the social media experts say make the media space a fertile ground for fake and unverified sensational news. This, in no small measure, compromises security. This has led to calls for stiffer measures and some degree of control in the use of social media in order to not to negate security. On the other hand, the recent indefinite suspension of Twitter operations in Nigeria, though a consequence of misuse of social media, many have expressed worry that it amounts to censorship. Now here lies the challenge. How might the right balance be struck between access to information and free speech? This is what our guests will be guiding us through on Nigeria Today. Welcome to the program. I'm Victor Azu. All right, and joining us to speak more on the media and national security is Susan Obi, Director, Investigation and Enforcement, National Broadcasting Commission. Welcome to Nigeria Today.
Good evening, Victor. Good evening, Nigerians.
I'm also joined by Kayode Aremu, General Manager, Kwara State Broadcasting Corporation. It's a pleasure to welcome you to the program.
Thank you, and good evening.
Right, let me begin with Susan. Are there visible media threats to national security as things stand?
I would say there are.
Okay.
And that is the essence of regulation. The media, or the national broadcasting media, has monitored some of these threats. These threats are in the cause of programs that are capable of inciting the polity, programs that have been observed to contain divisive rhetorics.
Okay.
And the National Broadcasting Commission, as the regulatory body for broadcasting in Nigeria, has observed these infractions in broadcasting across some programs as in the country. Yes, truly, there are threats to security as observed in programs monitored on stations.
And when you say programs monitored on stations, are these just at a national level, or you are also talking about subnational levels?
Yes, it cuts across national and state levels. By this, when I talk about programs, I mean contents of the programs.
Okay. Now, there is an ongoing meeting with zonal directors and general managers, I guess, of broadcast stations on implications of broadcast coverage on national security. What necessitated the meeting? Is it about such security threats that might be imminent?
The meetings, like you have said, the Director General of the National Broadcasting Commission, Malam Shehu Ilela, who was recently appointed as the DG of the National Broadcasting Commission, when he assumed duty, took cognizance of some of these threats and realized that one of the ways of bringing stations to par with the requirements of the code was to initiate a one-on-one contact and engagements with broadcast chief executives.
Okay.
So these engagements took place in 4 locations. It started in Kano, then Lagos, Enugu, and concluded today in Abuja. The essence is to have, the commission usually has forms of engagements with its licensees and those who regulate, I mean the practitioners of the industry. These contacts have been in form of group meetings, one-on-one contacts, memos, and directives. But the DG sought the need to have this one-on-one contact so that we could, the Commission could explain the position of the code as the regulatory instrument to the broadcast stations. So it was more or less a situation of reminding broadcasters of what is expected of them, reminding them of their responsibility to see to it that they become responsible in the discharge of their duties. That has been the essence of the meetings.
All right, thank you very much indeed, Susan Obi. Let me leave the regulator now and ask the practitioner. Kayode,
Yes.
If in all of this, as a participant and then a practitioner, have you been able to find a relationship between the media and national security in Nigeria?
Yeah, definitely, because you have to know that, like former British Prime Minister, late Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher in 1985, she said, the only way to deter terrorism is to deny them the oxygen that they need to survive. And that oxygen is media publicity. And so the media has a role to play when it comes to security. And that why is this insecurity thriving is because you are giving them publicity. So the media has to change its role vis-a-vis giving them security, so that you don't glamorize them, give them that oxygen which Margaret Thatcher said, which is publicity. And once they lack it, to a very great extent, we'll be able to reduce level of insecurity, terrorism, banditry in the country.
Now, when you say oxygen, which insecurity needs to survive, would you be talking about not reporting at all, or the pattern of reportage? And if the latter is the case, what do you recommend?
Is the pattern of reporting it. The oxygen, they need the oxygen to breathe. And, and what they need is that the atrocities should be publicized to instill fear, state of insecurity in the people. And that is what they want. If it's largely underreported, you are starving them. And importantly, the heroics of what our military men are doing, that is what the people need to be fed in. That is what the people need. And it's going to bring about a sense of security to the people. And that is what we should focus on. And if we do that to a very large extent, you know, like the broadcast industry does not thrive on sensationalism. Okay. And when you have things like that from the newspapers now cropping into the broadcast media, is an aberration. And that is what we have to check. And this program we had with the NBC today, I think should go a long way in addressing these things, so that we'll be able to secure our country.
All right, thank you, Kayode Aremu. Let me get back to Susan. How might the media help in ensuring national security just by merely doing its job?
The media would help a lot. In the first instance, the media or broadcasting is a responsible profession. So the media are required to be responsible in their reportage. Responsibility entails they are having the interest of the nation at heart. This becomes the premise upon which broadcasts are made. This forms the objective of programs, and this forms the underlying principles for programs that emanate on the stations. So it's expected, like Mr. Remo has said, that media broadcasts, especially now during this time of security challenges, should be devoid of sensationalism. It's what the code has said. The Nigerian Broadcasting Code requires that broadcasters and broadcasting at this time, even though they are required to maximize the use of broadcast technology, still they should avoid, the program should be devoid of sensational materials. They should display empathy broadcasters should broadcast from the point of view, from the point of responsibility, as being they are peace agents. They should see themselves, first of all, as peace agents and discharge their responsibilities of programming with neutrality and responsibility.
Now, I'm just wondering, Susan, you see, all that you have said appears to be tailor-made for recorded programs, for instance, programs that you have opportunity of going back to take a look at before you put it out. But we are doing a live program now, and if you have a guest who decides to say something that the NBC, or in fact, may not be found acceptable, what is expected of the broadcaster? Because these words would have been spoken and the effect would have been there. Even if you try to mitigate the effect, it would have been said. And so when you try to take actions, for instance, do you take action on the basis of what is done already or how it is managed?
When you have a guest on a program, the broadcaster is a professional. His guest is a guest. It's expected that before the program, the broadcaster would have thoroughly researched on the topic for the day. It's expected that the broadcaster will thoroughly interrogate his guest. Like you said, the guest could come in and make maybe unguarded comments and all that. The guest is entitled to his opinion, but the broadcaster has it as a duty, as a responsibility to ensure balance of these opinions, such that when the guest makes unguarded comments, the broadcaster should interrogate to seek out evidence to ensure that those allegations, perhaps allegations, are not just left like that.
Hanging.
Yes, they should not be left hanging. The broadcaster should thoroughly interrogate and seek that evidence should be provided. Otherwise, there shouldn't be these allegations. The broadcaster is supposed to ensure fairness and balance in that program, because the guest is there. I mean, the other side, no one is making inputs for the other side and contributions for the other side. So by reason of the broadcaster's interrogation, there should be reactions from the other side. It should be done in such a way that there's fairness, there's accuracy, there's honesty seen in the discourse.
All right. And all of these seems to have links to the social media. A lot of people, experts, blame the social media for escalating what we may term threats to national security. So let me ask Kayode, how much does the social media affect security?
Well, to a very great extent, because when you look at the traditional media, you have people who are trained, who are professionals, and who know what to broadcast and what not to broadcast. But when you talk about the social media, for you to qualify, just go and buy an Android phone. You become a broadcaster on social media without training, without knowing what to put. And that is why you find that the fake news thrives more on the social media. And to be able to check this, that is why government has to put, and I know the government is doing laws to be able to check them, and not only doing the laws, but to make sure that people are called to, you know, for them to answer for what they've posted, so as to act as a deterrent. And so to a very great extent, the social media is actually causing the insecurity we have in the country by posting things that are inflammatory, and so there is a need to call them to order, and that is talking about all of us Nigerians. Fake news is a problem of the world. It's not limited to Nigeria alone, and most governments in the world are putting in place measures to be able to address this. Nigeria has done laws, but we need to implement these laws so as to check disintegration of the country.
All right. I was going to ask if, the NBC, in your own estimation, is doing enough or is doing more than required, but it's something we have to leave for after the break. We have to take a breather now. Nigeria Today returns shortly. All right, welcome back. And if you've just tuned in to the program, this is Nigeria Today, and we have been discussing the media and national security. And just before I get back to Kayode, let me ask Susan, to what degree do media activities, and when I say media activities now, I'm talking about conventional media, what have you found in terms of how media activities impact national security? Some have, of course, accused the NBC of crackdown on the media in disguise.
You asked how the media activities has impacted on national security, right?
Yes.
To some extent, because the media is the organ for information dissemination. So it is natural that they will have impacts on so many organs, including security. That is why recently, or some time ago, the National Broadcasting Commission sent out a cautionary letter to stations on the broadcast of newspaper headlines and current affairs programs, because it was found reports that we got from stations indicated that even complaints from viewers indicated that they had been affected by the reportage of these programs, and so that it was as though, I mean, for some of the listeners, they were demoralized. One of the letters we got at the commission said the person who wrote in said he experiences shock. He was afraid of listening to the newspaper headlines, was afraid of listening to broadcasts each day, because it was almost as if they were tales of woe. And so the commission wrote to stations to be cautious in the broadcast of these materials that we consider to be sensitive content. So there's an impact of media on security, because one, I mean, there are so many impacts, really.
All right, thank you. So let me get back to Kayode. I had hinted earlier that I wanted, in your own assessment as a practitioner, would you say that the NBC is doing enough, or is it doing too much in terms of regulation?
No, it's doing well, but it's not actually doing enough, because as she rightly said, the newspaper headlines are causing problem in the country. So it's not a matter of just writing letters alone. It's a matter of taking some stations as scapegoat, because as I said earlier on, radio or electronic media does not thrive on sensationalism. So when you are doing newspaper review and you know the way they caption it, and you now go and replicate it exactly like that in the electronic medium, it's going to cause fear, anxiety in the minds of the people. It should not be. And that's maybe something we'll have to go into later, is why is the newspaper doing it? Why? They too are part of the national security. Anything that affects the country affects them. Why are they doing it when people are not buying the newspapers again? So you want to thrive, you want to put headlines that is going to make people buy it. And so that's another thing government has to look for a safety net for media practitioners, let's give us subsidy too. The economy is very bad, and you have people not paying their workers. You have some, most especially in the print media, you have people being owed 1 year salary, 18 months salary. And so they keep writing all the things like this. And you have to know that it's a statement or a saying that says, who pays the piper dictates the tune. So if Boko Haram can see newspaper reporters, editors, and pay them for publicity, then you see things like that, I mean, in the pages of the newspapers, and then you see it, the electronic medium, and you know most people is the electronic medium that is cheaper and affordable to them. And so a lot of people depend on it, especially the radios. So that means generality of Nigerians will be hearing these things on air.
But then, it's interesting that you mentioned newspaper review. For instance, if you are going to do newspaper review, I'm not sure that you can run away from saying what is, or repeating, or reading what has been stated or given as headlines on the papers. The analysis, the review is a different matter, but the headlines will be seen, in my opinion.
That's where editorial judgment comes in. Nobody is telling you to take that story by force. You could drop it. There are other stories of the Nigerian army receiving Boko Haram people who are surrendering. You didn't see that one. Nigerian army captures a territory. You didn't see that one. It's the one saying that Boko Haram has killed 22 people in one place that you saw. So,
but I'm sure you know that there are days that the headlines are almost uniform, depending on what has happened. If, for instance, there's been a bloody attack, for instance, the likelihood is that most of the headlines will toe that pattern. And so if you're going to do newspaper review, I'm not sure how you're going to run away from the headlines.
No. If you
all of them.
I agree with you. There are other stories that will be very interesting. Arsenal is receiving bashing all over the place. Put Arsenal there, that they've received a 3-0 bashing from Chelsea. It's not compulsory that you should put in stories that are going to cause disintegration of the country. So that is why editorial judgment has to come in, and we know that, as I said earlier during the program, that Margaret Thatcher in 1985 said, the oxygen this thing needs to thrive on is publicity. So why don't you deter them that publicity? When they see that they are not causing that fear, which they hope to achieve in the minds of the citizenry, it's going to reduce to a drastic extent. Okay,
I get you now. They will consider doing a lot of football talk these days. But Susan, you've been, I'm sure you have very much, you say this man is making your work very much easy. But as we round off, where does the balance lie in all of this? And how might it be struck between media and national security? And that's from your perspective as a regulator.
Okay, for me, it's and our perspective is that media and media practitioners should operate on the principle of responsibility. They are responsible to the audience, to their citizens, and regulation, we have amongst these definitions, is to protect the people from harm. So in the course of broadcasting, that should be one of the underlying principles guiding the discharge of the responsibility of broadcasting. Okay. What is the objective of this content? How in disseminating information, am I exposing the people to harm? Is the content going to be divisive or inciting? Okay. There should be underlying principles guiding our conduct as broadcasters. And then we should also seek that the contents we put out are balanced, are fair to all concerned. It should be one of the things guiding us.
Okay. Thank you very much indeed, Susan. And Kayode Aremu, I have about 30 seconds to go. I hope you consider this your final words. Okay. What would they be?
That we should think about the welfare of media practitioners. And let me tell you, in Kwara State, you don't see sensationalism. Why don't you see it? As of yesterday, our state government does not wait for national to share the national cake. Salaries have been paid since yesterday. So what reason have you got not to do your work professionally?
Well, what reason have you got? You're talking about payment. I thought you would also be talking about the volume of it. Anyway, thank you very much indeed, Kayo Diarem, General Manager, Kwara State Broadcasting Corporation. We thank you for your time and perspectives.
Thank you.
And an equal measure of thanks must also go to Susan Obi, Director, Investigation and Enforcement at the National Broadcasting Commission. Thanks for the insight.
You're welcome.
And Nigeria Today is live every weekday at 7:30 in the evening. Meanwhile, you can watch this and other editions of the program on www.youtube.com/NTA News 24 Hub. My name is Victor Azul. See you next time.